Sometimes
That's
it happens.
generous.
This is unnecessary.
You mean like all the time?
Yes. If I'm being honest with you, I definitely think that it is unnecessary. I think there are so many other ways we can solve a lot of our issues with other countries. But if they do attack first, what can we really do?
It's something as a recovering neoconservative, somebody who was very vocally supportive of like the U.S. military intervention in Afghanistan and Iraq back in '03. I'm 46 years old. So like back then I was like, yeah, let's go drop some democracy on those punks from 10,000 feet. It'd be awesome. But what I realized later is that, these are real people whose villages are being bombed by bombs that go astray. These are real people in the U.S. military that are being killed, with real families. And I realized that I was abstracting them, you know what I mean? And I was treating them like they were an entity, not a human, you know what I'm saying? And that led me to a place where I realized that there's all these wars going on, and like the U.S. is starting all these wars, and it's just awful.
Yeah, no, that definitely.
Our country is super guilty.
Yes, they are. Yeah, I've been full.
And it reminds me of another way that our country is super guilty. Is like, of course, there's obviously
what happened down here? You know the history of Greenwood?
I was just telling him about it because we parked at Greenwood, a piece from out of town.
Yeah.
So I was telling him about that, and it reminded me obviously that recalls the chattel slavery, problems that like the major injustices of the slavery period and all that, and like the spirit of dehumanization, right? Where you got like the party of power that looks at another class of people that they can easily control and destroy and oppress for their exploitative purposes, so that they can then step on them and get a little bit higher.
So that's actually what we talk about, is that systematic oppression. So Amnesty International talks about that.
And what that reminds me of a lot is today, because I'm like, what can we do in our own society today? Like, what's the best and most clear example of that same oppressive spirit today? The answer is obvious: abortion. We all look at these tiny children who are made in the image of God, who are just as much human as you or me, but they're just small and young, right?
I think we got bigger issues than abortion, but I understand what you mean.
Just think about that for a second, though, because you know how many people are dead from the abortion holocaust?
From the what?
From the abortion holocaust.
What's the abortion holocaust?
Well, since Roe versus Wade in '73 up to now, do you know how many people are dead just from abortion? It's like 80 million.
80 million?
Yeah.
And a lot more now when you look at babies murdered through chemical pills and in vitro fertilization, IVF. So it's actually hundreds of millions, and
probably
we don't even know.
Exactly. Yeah. And when you think about like the kind of Negro chattel slavery from the 1800s, that was probably numbering like victims numbering in a couple million maybe. 80 million that's 40, 50 times the amount of victims from that scourge and that barbaric atrocity from back then. And we've been at it, and we continue at it, and it's still legal in all 50 states in this country right now.
Not in all 50 states.
Yeah, it's all 50.
I'm from Missouri. You can't get an abortion here.
Yeah, you can.
Actually, Missouri. You may not know this, but Missouri was one of the 7 states back on November 4th that voted to put murder into the Constitution. Did you know that?
No,
and even before that, you can easily get an abortion pill.
Yeah, no, I know when I went to my gynecologist and was having issues, I remember that, I was having issues during the pregnancy, and abortion was definitely not an option.
Well, he wouldn't do it, but that doesn't mean you can't get one.
Well, of course, you can always go to the surrounding states.
Well, you can get one in Missouri, too. You can, at any time, any mother can order a pill, have it delivered to her house, and then she can take that pill to the attorney general or a police officer and look him right in the eye and be like, I'm pregnant, this is an abortion pill. She'll have no legal consequences.
No punishment at all.
I don't think that should be legal consequences for something like that. You never know what people go through.
You don't think there should be legal consequences to murder somebody?
No, I don't think that a woman should be thrown in jail because she has an abortion. Absolutely not. I mean, do I think that it's the best thing in the world? Of course not. But I don't think she should be put in jail for that either. Though.
Hold on. So you think it should be you should be legally immune from many consequences for killing a person, like a certain class of people.
It's your body. So absolutely.
That sounds exactly like the slave owners from the 1800s. You sound just like a plantation owner.
It's your own body, so that's completely different.
If it was your
And
body,
did you know that
Hold on a
a
second.
baby is actually a parasite until it actually turns into a full, like, actual, like...
Do you know what a parasite is?
Yeah, exactly. It's something that is inside your body that literally feeds off of your
That's
body.
not what a parasite is.
Well, a parasite actually feeds off of a different species. The host is a different species, so.
What makes you think that you can classify an offspring as a parasite? Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, because it technically is the definition of it.
Don't
An
really-
offspring is not a parasite. You realize that, right? Like a parasite is a different species that invades the body, whereas the offspring comes about by sexual reproduction. That's a child, right? You think a child is a parasite?
I don't think that an actual child, once it actually turns into an actual child, is a parasite. But when it's first growing and it's the size of a peanut, then it's...
When does the child become a child?
The child becomes a child officially at, 4 or 5 months is when it actually...
Fertilization.
How do you know that?
How do I know that? Because I used to work in labor and delivery. I actually was a nurse for a while.
Okay, but how did that expose you to this knowledge? Like, what was the fact that led you to that conclusion?
I studied human anatomy, especially female human.
So what specifically from your studies led you to believe that humanity is conferred at 4 months or whatever it is? What's the cutoff point?
Because that's when it officially turns into a baby. That's when it officially
What does
starts to have
officially
a
mean?
heartbeat. It officially has a heartbeat.
So a heartbeat.
Yeah.
What makes you think that a heartbeat confers humanity on somebody? Well, it's not human before, and then it's human after. How does that? What's the mechanism by which humanity is conferred by means of a heartbeat? How does a heartbeat make something magically human? I don't understand.
It's not a ball of DNA.
What, a ball of DNA? I thought you said that you were familiar with like the biological process. It's not a ball of DNA. It's cells that are reproducing and forming themselves right through the different stages of development, right? You're a ball of DNA, then, aren't you? So should it be okay to kill you legally? Why not?
Person with actual life.
Why the fact that you're older and bigger? Why does that mean that you should
To
be?
be honest with you,
protected?
there's no point in us having this conversation. I
You're-
believe that if somebody is raped in an abusive relationship or anything, that they will take the safety precautions that they need at the end of the day.
I think the problem is
It is
that
to the baby.
you're willing to dehumanize people because you have prejudice in your heart.
I don't have prejudice.
Some
You obviously do because you think it should be okay to murder babies.
That's not prejudice in my heart. I don't understand why you feel like it's okay to argue with me.
Just having a
You
conversation.
work for Amnesty International.
Yeah, we
You
sure
stand
do.
for human rights.
Yes, we do.
You're
We
a
stand for
hypocrite.
human rights, and we also stand for women to be able to have control over
You're
their
a
bodies. So
hypocrite.
that
But
includes
the
that
baby is not their body. The body inside her body is not her body.
Yes, it is. Her whose body is it then?
The
baby's
baby's body. Yeah.
You said it's a ball of DNA. It's not her DNA, is it? Right, silly? Is it her DNA?
What comes first, the chicken or the egg?
Is it her DNA in the body?
Yes.
It's so. Hold up. It's her DNA, and then at heartbeat it magically transforms into the baby's
You
DNA.
go somewhere where people would actually want to hear what you have to say.
Oh, okay. I thought you were here to talk to people. You only want to
About-
talk to people that agree with you. Is that the deal?
About justice.
That is just, I feel like there's no real rebuttal here, honestly.
Well, it's because you keep saying things that are not true and that are hypocritical.
It is true.